Hi, this is Charles of Mine is Life. Today I'm going to share with you how I got my architecture design published in my university's architecture faculty's yearbook. So this happened many years back in 1998 when I was an architecture student in the University of Melbourne. I'll explain how I got it published and the synchronicities that led to the manifestation of a goal I set 1 year before it took shape. But as we shall see, it all took shape in my mind and imagination 1 year before it actually happened. Again, folks, if you haven't already, please like this video if you find it helpful and subscribe to the Mind is Life channel for more videos about the mind, imagination, manifesting goals, extrasensory perception, spirituality, and the subconscious mind. Please turn on the notification button so you'll be notified of new videos. First off, let's take a look at my design project and the faculty yearbook before I explain how I got it published. So this is an art gallery, a building for the production, preservation, cataloging, and exhibition of artwork on paper. So the design concept of this building explores the various aspects of paper, such as wrapping, folding, thinness, layering, and transparency. As you can see from this external layer of glazing, we've got the concept of wrapping around the building, and also the concept of folding is shown throughout the design. So the whole building is has been folded in various ways, and we've got the idea of layering. So the idea of layering of materials and also layering of spaces. If you look at the floor plans, there is that effect of layering of spaces as well. And you can see I had actually painstakingly used sandpaper to blur out these plastic sheets to achieve a level of translucency for these spaces. So the main exhibition part of the building, the main exhibition levels are over here in this masonry part of the building, devoid of any windows, whereas the administration and cataloging and production of the artwork is done on the other part of the building, the upper parts and this part of the building. And over here you can see that's the entry ramp running up the building, and then you enter this void in the building. So this is the University of Melbourne Faculty of Architecture yearbook, published every year. I don't know whether they're still publishing it these days, but back then this was the yearbook, or as the Americans call it, the faculty annual. And so this was published by the University of Melbourne, and in it, so the editor for this yearbook is was also the professor in the faculty. And so this yearbook featured selected designs by the professor from each year. So you've got these designed by year 5 students, Here you get year 4 students and their design work, and so forth. So over here, this was year 3, and that's my design featured in this yearbook. So it was back in 1997 when I was in year 2 of my architecture bachelor's degree in the University of Melbourne. Every year, the Faculty of Architecture will publish an annual yearbook that featured design projects of a few students from each year of the faculty. The professor who was the coordinator of my year was also the editor of this yearbook every year. So around this time in 1997, I was an avid reader on the subject of the subconscious mind. My favorite author at the time was Dr. Joseph Murphy. So one weekend, while reading a book by Joseph Murphy on the subject of the subconscious mind, where he talked about using visualization to achieve goals, I decided to put it to the test. So that night, while reading Dr. Murphy's book, I set myself a goal to have my design published in a yearbook. It was a big goal for me because the designs featured in the yearbook were often reserved for the top design students, usually a selected few. So this is what I did. I imagined vividly that I was holding the next year's yearbook and looking at my design in the yearbook. My imagination was pretty strong and clear that night that I could feel the solidity of the pages of the book in my imaginary hands. So I did that visualization in late 1997. Fast forward a year, in 1998. During that year, I was very diligent. I kept on improving my design concepts, reading more architecture design books. And while doing this project, which was the final project for my third year semester, a lot of design ideas came to me. So each design year had a few hundred students split into smaller design studios of about 10 to 12 people each, and each design studio was headed by a tutor architect. So during the end of each semester, we had to present our design drawings and models to our design tutor for the presentation and critique. As you know, design critique, just like in any architecture competition where you have judges, is always subjective to the judge or tutor. My design tutor for my studio didn't really like my design when I presented it. So what happened was, he gave me just an average mark for this design. When I saw my grade written on his list, I was quite disappointed and I thought that's the end of it. But then, some strange synchronized events started happening. One night, while I was in the faculty computer studio surfing the internet, so back then the internet was pretty new, the studio was empty except for me and another friend. Then out of the blue, one of my classmates walked into the studio and announced, "Everyone, Professor Heidbeck said that we can all start clearing out our drawings from the boards in the studio and take our models home. But he said everyone can only bring their drawings and models home after they bring it to his office first." This was an official announcement by the professor, but it was done through word of mouth, not through a proper notice or email. And I was quite lucky my classmate came into the computer room to announce it to me. So the next week, I took some time off my internship job to bring my model home. I went to the faculty building and I went upstairs to the professor's office. The door to his office was half open and he was sitting on his desk doing some work. I knocked on the door, greeted him, and asked him if I could bring my stuff home. He took a look at the model I was holding in my hands, and he took it into his hands, looked at it carefully for about 20 seconds, and said, "I think you should leave it here with me." Confused by what he said, I asked why. He said, "I'm the editor of the architecture yearbook, and I'm currently selecting projects to put into the yearbook. I like your design, and I'm going to put it in the yearbook. Come back next week after I've taken some pictures and you can bring your model back. A month later, the yearbook was published and I was holding the yearbook looking at my design in its pages, just like I had done in my imagination a year before. This thing took shape in my imagination a year before it happened in the physical. So despite the fact that my design tutor didn't like my design personally, it didn't matter. The professor, who was the only person who had any power to put my design into the yearbook, liked my design the moment he saw the building model, and convinced himself to include it in the yearbook that he was editing. Now folks, what are some of the goals that you want to achieve? If you can visualize it clearly in your mind, and if you can, condition it in your mind by revisiting the same imagination to make it vivid and clear enough, the whole universe will conspire to manifest that imagined act for you. Your imagination literally sets forth a chain of synchronized events to manifest itself. So ask yourself, what are you imagining today? Your imagination, if entered into, can meet you in your future by becoming your future reality. I'll be sharing more stories of imagination and manifesting very soon on this channel, so please subscribe and turn on the notification button and stay tuned for new videos. Please also check out the Mind is Life website. The link is at the bottom of this video. And if you're interested to learn more about the mind and imagination, you can also find my book, Creating Your Personal Reality, from Amazon. Again, the link is provided below. Thanks for watching. And remember, always imagine the best.